All right, so for your final game in Chapter 6, you're going to make something that I call a reaction game. So you should have this paper in front of you. It's going to walk you through all the requirements, but you can see it says in this programming assignment, you will create a program that uses conditional statements, user input, images, sound, text, and button detection to create a multiplayer reaction game. So really, this game is going to use the majority of what we've studied this semester. You can see how programming just keeps building with all of those concepts to make better and better games. So to begin with, you'll have that coding and that commenting at the beginning of your program describing the game. You'll then carefully comment throughout your code, and it's going to be especially important here because if I ever have to read through your code to give you a grade, I need to be able to know what each section of code is doing. So every conditional, every variable, anything that maybe wouldn't be straightforward to anybody else or that you might forget what it's for, comment it as you go. Then the last piece is at the end, you'll have these 3 questions as your narrative at the very, very bottom. So you'll create your program. Basically, I'm going to have you think about your pseudocode, but I think I'm going to take that out of your final part, but make sure that you are thinking through what you're going to do because this will be a basic outline of your game. So thinking through how you're going to tackle this task, what you're going to do one thing at a time, and you'll hand all that in at the end. Again, you won't need to do the pseudocode, but you should be thinking through an idea of how you're going to tackle this because tackling it all at the same time wouldn't be smart. Maybe you want to do one little piece here with the backgrounds and one little piece here with the pad 1 and one little piece here, etc., etc. So then if you look over here on this side, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can get closer to the requirements. So if you look down at the top of the back page, it says you're going to create a 2-player game called Reaction Game, and this will be done entirely on the game pad. So you'll have 2 game pads, 1 for each player. Your program should have many different screens throughout gameplay. Depending on the setup of your program, the number of screens will differ. So depending on how you tackle this program will actually impact how many screens you have and things like that. But what you will need is you will need a title screen displaying the name of the game. This will be created by you. You will need an instruction screen providing instructions for the game. Again, this will be created by you. You will need gameplay screens for each level. Again, this will be created by you. You'll need winner screens to display the winner, again, created by you, and game over screen, again, created by you. So you're going to have these different types of screens, a title and instructions, a gameplay screen, a winner screen for the different people that win or how the winning is determined, and then a game over screen. It says special note. You will need to create many of these on your own. You may use any combination of text and images to do so. It is entirely your choice on how you do this. So the next piece says during the gameplay, the following will occur. So you'll notice here there are 2 levels. You will need to create both levels. In the example I'm going to show you, I actually created 3, but you need to create 2. Level 1 will be a competition between player 1 and player 2 who can press the A button the most. So what level 1 will do is it will display on the screen player 1 and player 2. And who has pressed the A button the most times. There will be a timer on the screen that is displaying how much time is left. So if they have 10, 9, 8, etc., you will count down from 10. And it's who can press it the most times in 10 seconds. You'll also need some instructions about what buttons to press. On this screen, it would be to press A. The current number of presses should be displayed, and the current level should be displayed. So what I mean by this is, I'll play this right now. So as you play, first of all, you'll notice I have, I'm going to turn my volume down a little bit, just for now. You'll notice that I have this screen to start, and then I'm using the start button to switch between the different screens. Here's my instruction screen, and then here, when this pops up, this is level 1. It's got a timer, and it tells me to press the A button. So I can press it for player 1, and for player 2, they're competing who's going to win. And then at the end, it actually displays the winner. And that's the next piece in your instruction. So here it says, level 1 winner determines who pressed the A button the most. Level 1, or player 1, player 2, or tie. So what that means is that if you were to play this again and somebody were to tie, so say that they were both at 5, what will happen is after 10 seconds, it will be a different screen that will pop up and it will say there was a tie. So you should have a winner screen after the levels displaying who won. So that's that next piece of the requirement. So that's level 1. It'll display how many times A has been pressed, and then it will display who won, whether it's player 1, player 2, or a tie. Then level 2 will happen right after level 1, and in level 2, they can press the A and the B button on the controller, and it will then display a winner from there. So if I play the same game again, you'll notice that we go through these main screens. I press start to continue, then they press A, and it'll display who won after level 1. So 10-second countdown, it will display there, player 1 wins. Press start to begin round 2, and now it's a combination of A and B, and who wins this round? And it says player 2 wins. Now, to determine the winner on this screen, the winner on this screen is determined by who pressed the most A plus B together. So who had the most button presses, not who pressed A the most, not who pressed B the most, but who pressed A and B the most in that 10-second span. So kind of keep that in mind. You're going to have to use some mathematics to help you here. So with level 1 and level 2, they happen consecutively right after each other, and it will display a winner for both. And it says determines who presses the A and B button the most. Notice that in level 2, the A started over, and it started from 0 and then counted from there. Then the last thing is after the entire play, and I'll show you this in a second, there will be a summary screen. And what will happen is it will display the total number of presses for each button. So on this summary screen, it will display the total number of presses for A. This means that the presses they pressed in level 1 and level 2 will display. So if they pressed A 3 times in level 1 and 4 times in level 2, the summary screen will say A was pressed 3 plus 4, which is 7 times. Then it will display who pressed B the most in level 2, and then it will display the total number of presses that took place together, and then it will prompt the user to exit the game, or it will play again, and it will reset everything. The other thing I want you to notice as I run through this game one more time is that there are at least 2 different songs that are playing throughout your game. So I want to see 2 different songs playing in the background, and they can be as similar as the ones you just saw, and we can use songs like Beautiful Soul or Dancing Queen, or you can use the basic songs you'll hear in the game that I'm about to play, where they're just background songs that I got for free off of a website that has free MP3s. So that's what I used. When on the screen, these sounds should repeat, and only one sound should play at a time. So what you're going to notice as I play is you're going to hear different sounds. You're going to see levels 1 and 2. You're also going to see that I made a third level that incorporates all of the buttons being pressed. And then if you'd like to make an extension, you can make level 3 if you want. You can add in additional players or game pads with the keyboard or with the game pads, and then you can add any other creative idea, just get it approved by me. So to show you this game one more time with sound, I'm going to turn my sound on. You can hear the nice lullaby being played. And then from here, when I switch screens, you can hear that that song is slightly different. And so it's counting my A presses. And notice as I start round 2, A starts over. And it's going to say who won out of this round. Player 1 won that round. And here's the 4th round. Remember, this is optional, so you can do all of the buttons. This is an optional round. And then this summary screen, I'm going to turn the music down a little bit. This summary screen displays throughout all of the levels how many times A was pressed, B was pressed, X was pressed, Y was pressed. Now, if you only do levels 1 and 2, you will not have X and Y, so kind of keep that in mind. But yours will at least have A, how many times A was pressed in both rounds, how many times B was pressed in level 2, and then how many total button presses they had. So that means all of the buttons added together for that player, how many button presses that they have, and then you can see if I want to start over, I can, or I can exit. If I were to start over, you will notice that this starts over completely at 0. So if you need a little bit further instruction, please let me know. But rewatch that video, look at what's expected of you, and then let me know if you want me to help you test it out as you're creating this final game.